morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you are. Welcome back to the Real Matrix Files channel. I wanted to talk to you today about something that I discovered during the research, which I haven't spoken about yet, and just occurred to me because I was having a physical symptom of this exact thing and wanted to talk to you about why it happens. If you're familiar with the files at all and you're familiar with the research and you've read the books, you will already have a grasp on the mechanics, I suppose you could call it, of what I'm about to talk about in respect to our connection to the internet, which we've already established is not just hardware, it's not just Wi-Fi, it's not just the cables and the devices. It is the connection of our electromagnetic field to an artificial one, which is the internet and everything on it. And we already know now that the reason it's artificial is because the underlying coding is incorrect, inorganic, and does not resemble any natural life form harmonious with the proper functioning of the human being or our planet. When we connect to the internet through social media portals, via smartphones, even your standard broadband connection, we are through fiber optics, we are allowing the assimilation of online content into our electromagnetic field, the individual. And when we have 7 billion people doing it, it's not quite that many yet, but for the sake of the argument, when we have that many people doing it, and we're crawling all over the earth, seemingly, we create a situation where the organic matter of the natural world is similarly absorbing and assimilating the internet into its electromagnetic field. Now, when we have an artificial grid, as it is, an artificial neural interface, as it is, an artificially intelligent neural interface, we should probably first stop using the word intelligent. The artificially neuronally impaired interface. And we're connecting to this. We're connecting to all the data that's online, and we've already established that this data is represented by binary. And in the mobile application of it, it is the information that is passing at the speed of light through the telecommunications towers that have scarred our natural world and represent little more than exterminated Daleks from Doctor Who. In so doing, if we look at online data and the volume of it and the various levels of quality of the information that's passing through those towers, again at the speed of light anywhere in the world. Firstly, we make a mockery of the time-space continuum in that the speed of light, while it is what it is and can be debated, is pretty much an instant teleportation of sorts in relation to how we understand time and the ticking of a clock, for example, that light will reach us before a second. So already we have just by default of the technology that they're using with information everywhere at the speed of light, we are, as a collective, admitting that the time-space continuum is no longer a relevant factor in how we process information about the simulation, and even how we perceive ourselves within our daily lives in the construct of time being merely a guideline to enable us to complete a day with some sense of efficiency under the hammer of the clock. So when we're making this connection with all of this data online, and we have people using smartphones to access social media portals, and in so doing, they press the like button, they press the retweet button. What's actually happening is that if you understand the internet as a neurally deficient interface, and you, in connecting with it, are placing it sort of, for the sake of painting a picture, it's like putting a helmet on your head. It's like putting another field of energy around your heart and all your internal organs. It's connecting your nervous system to the energy passing through millions, billions of people's devices. And further, all the information that those people are connected to. The imagery online is very important. Our minds and our eyes respond to imagery. We have a certain conditioning when it comes to imagery. Some things people find pleasing, the same thing someone else might find discomforting. Behind the illusion of these images, which are pulled together in a digital form and not a representation of reality in that they are not organic. For example, I see a picture of a person. I'm not seeing a person. I'm seeing an image of a person, a reproduction, and a reconstructed version of how that person looked at that point in time when the picture photograph was taken. The representations, copies, not the real thing, fake. Yes, most photography is fake because it's not the real thing, but that's beside the point. So we engage with these images, and for every image that is posted on social media and elsewhere on the internet, where there is real-time communication occurring, and we have people using smartphones to interact with these posts by commenting, by liking, by retweeting, by sharing, etc. We are operating underneath, firstly, the URL of that post. In previous podcasts, I've explained to you that each social media post has its own unique URL, which is usually consists of the domain name of the network, perhaps the username of the user, and then / a string of numbers at the end, or on Instagram, a string of numbers and letters, and the same on YouTube, it's a string of numbers and letters. This was one of the first things that I realized when I started doing the research, is the importance of these URLs, the importance of these numbers, and how they are represented subliminally with binary data, and it is this data that is spinning at the speed of light through our telecommunications towers, including all movies, which also have their own unique URLs with a similar filing system, if you want to put it that way. It's a numeric, an alphanumeric filing system. Now, what happens in the binary realm in our electromagnetic field and the artificial grid, and how it merges with our natural organic grid, magnetic grid, is the mind, the brain, as I said in a more recent podcast, has its own mathematical structure. And the brain and the mind takes this data and translates it instantly as if it was saying yes to the incoming information. It is receptive to what it's being told. From here, we could talk about brainwashing and how easy it is to do this simply by infiltrating the human being at such a subtle level of energy that the brain believes something other to what is actually real, occurring, or true for that individual. But in terms of the physical effects that we experience as a result of connecting to this grid and the assimilation of its data and the reception of the data, what happens with the alphanumeric system is that even the letters in the alphanumeric system are represented by numeric code, and again under that, binary. So it's all ones and zeros, and each string has its own, as I've said, identifying ID, its URL. When we take a smartphone and we interact with the app and we like one of these posts, what we're doing is we're connecting our device to the post, to the person who posted it. It's going straight to their brain. Speed of light. Speed of light penetrating everything that exists. Human beings, 80% water, internal organs, heart, brain. Okay? Speed of light, imperceptible frequencies, multiple frequencies at once. Every time we hit like, every time we hit retweet, every time we at somebody, we are talking directly into their brain, whether they are logged in or out. Now, when we have our own phone number, our own IP address, or even a VPN, which spins us off to some other location that we're not really at, technically a form of fraud. Everything that individual is and is connected to is impacting the individual that they are engaging with. It's no longer just the words they say. It's no longer just the like. It's a merging of data. Online, you already know that Wikipedia and other websites, educational institutions, etc., have an enormous volume of data to do with the physical body, illness, and health. Everything that could be possibly discussed about the human body is online. Absolutely everything. And it's only one step taken to reach a connection with everything to do with the physical body online. So the brain interprets this incoming data and assimilates it into the physical body through the brain and the heart. Speed of light, again, enormous volumes of data, mobile devices, and telecommunications towers. Some people have had the experience of feeling pain inexplicably somewhere in the body. It might persist for a long time because their account ID doesn't change and its connection to external data stays in place. And they go to the doctor and they say, "Doctor, why is my leg hurting?" And they get x-rays done and they get tests done and they can't find anything wrong. This is called a simulated experience, where the mind is being told that it is experiencing pain in that particular part of the body because it has engaged and connected with an artificial neural interface through mobile technology. In the worst case scenario, disease can also be transmitted in the same way. You might refer to it as a psychosomatic reaction, except we are not making the choice to believe in it. We are simply subconsciously connected to the relevant data. And therefore we experience the pain or the illness. What we need to overcome is the massive gap in our understanding between the physical, the digital, the technological, and the etheric, and our electromagnetic fields. Human beings and this planet that we have collectively imagined are magnetic by principle. There's a certain way that our electromagnetic field works that must not be interfered with. When it is, pain and suffering result. Artificial intelligence does not follow the organic code of our natural magnetic structure. Okay? When we connect our minds to the internet, to social media, to individual accounts, to the URLs of posts, and we are interacting, we are putting ourselves and our energy field, our biofield, into a very precarious situation, and we begin the battle. We don't know why we're suffering. The media is in there. We get pulled this way and that. Before we know it, a day's gone past, we've been angry for most of it, and now we've got a sore elbow, or worse. This has become the new normal because it hasn't been understood. If it were fully understood, if the impact of engaging with this interface were fully understood, there is very little likelihood that we would continue harming ourselves in this way. As I've addressed before, the people and the companies who profit the most from this technology are not going to leave quietly. They are within their rights to continue. They have been given the gift of free will choice, the same as the rest of us. What I'm trying to achieve here is sharing information with you that can hopefully explain certain things to you that help make your life better by being more free and endowed with more knowledge about the technology that you are engaging with and the effects and the impacts that it has. It's important, obviously, to maintain a good diet, keep up your magnesium levels and your iron levels, and drink plenty of water. The nervous system is the crux of it. The thalamus gland in the brain is the hub of the central nervous system, and it is through those portals in the brain that this data is relayed to the finer neural network of the brain, and how it receives and interprets information and sends pain signals to the rest of the body. And as I said, it only needs to be told. It only needs to receive the input, and it says yes, and that is what you will experience. It even happens with the things we see, the people we meet. That's another story. But in terms of the physical impact, it's very real. You can notice it. You can feel it. And if you're feeling unwell at any point or your health takes a turn, my recommendation would be to delete your social media accounts and to stop using a dumb phone. It is a weapon. It does attack the human biofield and the natural magnetic field of this planet. The core of our Earth is, I believe, heating up because of a whole bunch of reasons, this being very central to those reasons. The heart of the Earth, our heart, is heating up because of the excessive amount of abuse it is sustaining because of mobile technology and previously broadcast technology, the way that television aerials on roofs, digital TV, etc. Okay? There's a huge bridge to cross because somebody decided that all businesses should be on the internet, everything should be mobile tech, that Wi-Fi makes it easy and fast. And isn't that wonderful for making money? And isn't it convenient? Well, the sad fact is that none of it's separate to the human being or the planet. It does have its effect. It's not just about, radiation or what type of radiation. It is about the data that is entering the mind and being automatically translated by the mind as having a reality that is not true, by making connections that are not real. It's a brainwashing. It's a technological psychosomatic response to information. That's all I wanted to talk about for this morning. Again, I'll be away just for a little bit. I have some things to take care of, and I'm working on volume 2 of Simulation, the transcripts. You can get the first book only at Amazon, and you can purchase it as paperback or ebook. Thank you to whomever read it and gave it a 5-star rating. I really appreciate that. It's awesome to get positive feedback. I hope the book served its purpose and continues to for anyone else interested in reading it. I'm signing off, and in the meantime, have a think about what I've said. Understand that it's not as ridiculous as it sounds. It can be easily explained by science.